So we've already talked about factoring out a GCF. We're going to move to the next step, which would be factoring trinomials with a leading coefficient of 1. Now, you remember that we learned how to multiply binomials together by using the distributive property or a method that we called FOIL. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how to factor or break apart that trinomial answer that we got into the product of two binomials. So we're actually doing the opposite of multiplying. We are factoring. We are breaking it apart into a multiplication problem. So just go back and review really quickly. When I have a binomial times a binomial, you either do the distributive property, which is take the x and multiply it by the second binomial, then go back and take the 2 and multiply it by the second binomial, and that's going to give you x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 10, which is going to give you x squared plus 7x plus 10. With FOIL, we just had a cute little acronym. First, 2 together, which gives me x squared. My outer 2 together, which gave me my 5x. The inner 2 together, which gave me the 2x. And the last term here times the last term here, which gave me the 10. Can you see that they're the exact same thing? And then the outers and the inners normally added together to give you this. Okay, this was F. This was the O and the I combined together, and this was the L. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the answer and we're going to break it apart. So if you are given a trinomial like this where the leading coefficient is 1, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to list your choices. What two first terms can I multiply together to get x squared? Well, it's easy. It's just x and x, and that's what makes this particular method easiest because there really is no choice here. Then go down here to the last term and say what two last terms in my binomial can multiply together to give you 10. Now, to list all the possible factors of 10, again, we're going to start with 1, which is the smallest factor, and 10, which is the largest factor. And then we're going to keep on going. The next one would be 2 and 5. 3 won't go in there, 4 won't go in there, so we've met up with the other side. So there are all the factors. Remember that the outers and the inners added together to give you 7x. So out of these choices, which of these will add together to give you 7? That would be these two right here. So to factor this, I'm going to have two binomials. This is going to be an x here and an x here. The choices that we picked here were a 2 and a 5. And then this part is extremely important. Since this is a positive, that tells you that the signs we put down here have to be the same. It either has to be a positive number times a positive number to give you a positive answer, or a negative number times a negative number to give you a negative answer. Okay? Oh, excuse me, to give you a positive answer. All right, so I know the signs both have to be the same. Then they added together to give you a positive 7. So this positive here tells you they're going to be the same. And then we look right here to see what they're going to be, and that's a plus and a plus. Okay? All right, let's go on. We call this guess and check. It's a little better than just guessing and checking, but since this is positive, I know the signs are going to be the same, and they're both going to be positive. So I've set this up with some blanks. Okay, so I know it's going to look like this in the end. Now I need to list my choices. X and X, so there really is no choice. I'm going to put an X there and an X there. Okay, choices of 36. Again, list all your possible factors, okay? You'll get to the point that you'll just see it, but let's list them for right now. Ready? 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. Okay? Out of these pairs, which of those will add together to give you 15? It would be, that's not the right one, Miss Wilbur. It's going to be 3 and 12. Just checking to see if you're paying attention. Okay, so it's going to be 3 and 12. 3 here, 12 here. Now, I can check this very quickly by using FOIL and find that I get the exact same answer that I started with. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, again, this tells me that the signs are going to be the same. They're both going to be plus. Okay, so choices here, X and X. Choices here, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Which of those add together to give you 10, 4, and 6? All right? Now, the C value in the middle, the C value with it plus, we already said that means that the signs are going to be the same. Okay, so far we've used plus signs for all of those, but in this case, this tells me that the signs are going to be the same, but in this case, they're both going to be minus signs. So I will set up my template like that. Then I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to put X and X. I'm going to put 1 and 15, 3 and 5. Okay? Which of these add together to give you 8, 3 and 5, X and X. It's just that when you do your outers, which gives you negative 5X, and your inners, which gives you negative 3X, these will combine together to give you negative 8X. So that negative sign in the middle there. All right, so the first thing I want you to do on each one of these is I want you to decide about the signs. This tells me the signs are the same. They're both going to be negative. Okay, pause the video, do it. You should end up with X, X, 2, and 3. Okay, let's go to the next concept here. If this C value is negative, then it means that the factors are going to have opposite signs. So as soon as you see that this is negative, you can put a plus in one and a minus in the other. Okay? But then the process is the same. I still list the factors. So my factors or my choices for the front are X and X. Choices for this, 1, 20, 2, 10, 4, 5. But since the signs are different, instead of these adding together to give you, this is an understood 1 here, instead of adding together to give you a 1, they need to subtract. Remember, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. So subtract. So which of these subtract? These two subtract. And then it's really easy. Whatever sign is here, since this is positive, then the positive goes with the larger number here, and the negative goes with the smaller number. So my X's are going to go in the front, the 5 is going to go behind the plus, and the 4 is going to go behind the minus. And this is just going to take some practice. Okay? So what does this tell me? That this is negative? What does that tell me right away? That one's going to be plus and one's going to be minus. Factors of this are X and X, so we'll put those in. Okay? Factors of this. 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. 4 won't go, 5 won't go, so I'm good. Which of these will subtract to give me 3? These two right here. And since this is negative, it goes with the larger factor, and the plus goes with the smaller one. So I'm going to put the 6 behind the minus sign and the 3 behind the positive sign. And again, you're just going to need to practice these. All right? What does this tell me? The signs are going to be the same. And in this case, they will both be negative, so fill that in first. Okay? Choices here, X and X. Choices here, 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Same signs, add. That's going to be right there. So this is going to be X minus 2, X minus 4. Okay? Polynomials. This is a polynomial, and the factored form and the polynomial are equal to each other. So you can use this concept to check to see if you factored correctly. Simply take your factored form, use the distributive property or FOIL, and you should get the form that you started with. And that's